Hello, hello, hello. This is Arnel Tanyag with Tanyag Company. Just wanted to do a quick video on anxiety and how it shows up in people who are performing really high and people who are stuck. I'm doing a workshop on February 27, Friday, from 9 to 10:30 at Gather on 3 mistakes that business owners make that lead to high levels of anxiety and stress and burnout. Go from unknown to freedom. And I want to talk about that because in the last couple of years, I see a lot of people at a high level of stress, high level anxiety, and some of them are burnout or about to be burnout. So I'm going to talk about in this video on where you think you're at, and maybe you need to really come to that workshop or really talk about what can I do about this, because high levels of stress and anxiety and burnout doesn't help you grow. It actually keeps you stagnant. And then a lot of it is about, what can you do? And can do something about it, but you just don't know. So let me share with you, for business owners, if they're not producing and they're flat and revenue decline, anxiety shows up in overthinking. They overthink. They just talk it in their head. You're like, they got monkey brain, talking in their head. And they delay execution. They're not going to take action. The other thing I've seen people do when they're in a situation, they're micromanaging or reverse engineering decisions, like, oh, I don't really know if I'm doing the right thing. And they talk, they almost out talk their decision, or they want to micromanage every little thing. They emotionally withdraw. They avoid things. They avoid people, networking. They avoid looking at financial reports, sales conversations. They actually don't want to work on their business. They don't want to get ahead, and they're very irritable. I mean, you can feel that negativity, or they bite your head off, and they're working long hours with less impacts. You know what that is? They're keeping very, very busy. When the business is flat and it's not growing, they become very busy. They actually know what they're doing, but they don't know how to get out of that. So they just have this narrative in their head, go, if it fails, it's on me. It's all about me. I should have all this thing already figured out. I should know better, and I can't afford to make it wrong. And so there's this monkey brain. There's just this stuff running in their mind all the time. And a lot of times there's, one of the biggest things as a business owner, their biggest challenges is cash flow. I don't know how I'm going to make money. How I'm going to hit my number. Or, what the biggest challenge is? Payroll. Oh man, I got a big payroll. My payroll is $20,000 every 2 weeks, or $20,000 this week. How do I pay that? Or they have that overhead pressure besides payroll, the rent, staff, and all that. Say they lost a client. I mean, we all lose clients. I know last year I fired 2, lost 2, and 2 didn't pay me. It was so rough year. Market shifts. I mean, hang on. I tell you what, things are changing all the time. Market shifts. Things are changing in the business community, commercial and residential. And here's the worst part about it. They're comparing themselves to their peers. Why can't I do this? Why can't I be better? So and I've seen people that they'll keep, a business owner, when they get in this type of high level of stress, they just keep reworking their pricing model. They keep working their process. They keep working something to see if they can make it better. And what they actually do is it just repeats this mind game, this stress in their head. Now, if you're a top performer, now here's the interesting thing about top performer, their high levels of stress and anxiety is they're reluctant to delegate. They don't want to delegate. They are the bottleneck. And it's interesting because that's, for them, is hyper control. They like to control things. So they control every outcome. They don't like celebrating wins. Like a lot of the clients I coach, I'm like, every week I say, what's your win? Personal, what's your business? They're like, I need you to celebrate, because celebrating means wins. That mean you are valuing you and the people around you and your circumstances and what you did, and you're celebrating. You're actually feeling good. You're creating that dopamine hit that I did really well. A lot of times when high performers, they don't do that, and they stay stuck. And the other thing, high performers I see, what high level of stress, anxiety, they're constantly worried about the future. They're looking at their identity is always around their performance. They're wrapped into their role. Like they say, it's all on me. What if it stops not working? I can't slow down. You know, people are counting on me, right? So they are feeling that everything is dependent on their ability to produce. They common triggers is, you know, the company's got to grow really fast. They need to rely on their team. There's bigger stakes, you know, and the reputation may be lost. Or the biggest thing is I'm losing momentum, you know. So, and I have some of these owners. I call these high performance owners sales business owners. They love to sell, and then they get to a, you know, they maintain their anxiety is maintaining. So I see how it shows up for them. Now it's interesting if you're a sales. And here's interesting: if you're a sales professional and you're say you're stuck, you're not hitting your quotas, you're slumped. Usually, what you end up doing, I see this a lot, is you avoid prospecting or following up. You just don't see the need to, right? You over prepare. I want to be good. I want to be good, and you're not engaging. You're not learning how to, what they say, fail forward. You know, you are getting so upset about being rejected. There's so much self-doubt. There's so much fear in your head that you're not really good. You keep making different strategy changes, looking different resources to be better. Your thinking is all on short term, and you're desperate. You can never see in sales you're desperate like that. And so, you know, and the thing in your head, the narrative you're telling you, run out of time. You know, everybody's gonna see me failing. I need this deal closed. You get very desperate, right? And then, you know, you get triggered on missed targets and feedback from leadership or clients. You know, there's compensation pressure, like you got to hit a certain number, and, you know, they have scoreboards and rankings, and you get really, really upset with that. And then you are spending hours and hours refining the process when you just got to go make action. Now, if you're a top performer as a salesperson, what your biggest thing around anxiety, stress is afraid to lose your status. You're over attached to those outcomes. Like that's how I measure my success is here's the thing I see a lot of, they can't turn it off. They can't shut down, you know? They want to take on too many accounts. They're performance driven by pressure, not clarity, you know? They in their head, like, I got to stay on top. I got to be number one. You know, I got to keep this pace going, even if it kills me, you know, or I'll, you know, one bad quarter changes. So they're in this high level type of stress and anxiety because they are top producers, but they feel they're top producers. They're just sabotaging themselves, right? And sometimes this happens because leadership expects more. There's more competition peer. They kind of blew up their lifestyle. I mean, I've seen a lot of people, when they start making money, they start spending money, and then they're on this treadmill, right? And they may have a lot of debt, you know, and so a lot of times we got to get that figured out, and then they like to be recognized, you know. So when people and top performers and salespeople lose out, they create that high level anxiety. And not saying you can't be successful in your sales, but there's no reason to be successful if you're really unhappy and you're not purposeful and it doesn't have any meaning or impact, you know? So, and then remember, the anxiety and stress is usually around patterns. So what they usually say is when you have anxiety or stress, your attention, what you focus on is different. You're either you freeze or force. Like I have some people who, if they have high level anxiety and stress, they avoid, they freeze, they don't do much. I mean, I have some men who will sit there and watch TV. Some men will sit there and eat. Some men will go out and have drinks. I mean, it's amazing. Some men will go play video games just because that's how they present anxiety. Other men are high performers. They'll just keep really busy and keep push. They will see that everything is either risky or urgent. They got to make that happen. They're focusing on not the important stuff or the stuff that brings value to them. And then, you know, if you're stuck or you're not hitting your numbers, you will see anxiety as survival, right? I need to survive. And that creates high level of stress. And then if you're a high performer, you do what they call maintenance anxiety. You just maintain what you have. You get on a treadmill. The hardest thing about this is that they say that, you know, most people, what they need to do, like high performers need to know how to regulate. So I work with a lot of CEOs, business owners, or business owners transition to C-suite. And what we have to do is help them regulate. They're high performers. We have to help them regulate and give them space so they can focus on the important, not get wrapped into the day-to-day. I have some people who are underperformers, so I'm help them become top performers. We have to help them get clarity, not pressure, where to focus, how to not let the pressure get to you. So it's interesting, based on like the several people I coach or advise, high performers, you just got to help them stay focus on the 20%, not let the pressure eat them up. And then I have people who want to be high performers are not meeting their potential, but they just need clarity and actually how to do what they have to do. So the interesting thing is when you are in high level anxiety and stress, these things show up. And then when you're in that situation, you're feeling the manner, if you're a high performer or someone who wants to be a high performer, the pattern is there. And it shows up in how you are. And a lot of it is how you are, how you feel, people see you, your energy, and how good you are communicating, becoming creative. So one of the things I suggest with people when they are actually working through, high levels of stress and anxiety, who's helping you work through that? Do you know how to recognize that? And then do you know what resources that you can do? So one of the workshops that I'm having, again, I mentioned 3 mistakes that lead business owners to stress, high levels of stress, anxiety, and burnout. Because burnout comes when you have high levels of stress and anxiety and you're just over it, and it doesn't matter if you're a low performer, high performer, it still shows up. It just shows up differently. So if we can help you manage your stress, help you manage your anxiety, burnout won't happen. And if you do have burnout, we can help you work through that. Because some of my clients, they're running high performers. They've had burnout, and what we had to do is had to reassess what caused the burnout, give them a new purpose, a new story, and help them build the resilient muscle, what's in their mind, to produce, be happy, enjoy life, and hit some amazing goals and objectives, grow a company. So that workshop we're doing is going to help you, the 3 mistakes. And it's usually focused on what you have to do, what your environment you have to create. And the most important thing, understand how your mind works with you and against you, and learning how to recognize that you still have freedom to choose. The difference is you now know what you know, so you can make that choice. So again, I hope this video about how anxiety shows up in top performers, how anxiety shows up in people who want to perform at the top, and how it shows up in how you think and what you do. If you're interested in attending that workshop, please let me know, because in the last 3 years, I have clients right now that I advise. We have worked on this constantly so that they can achieve their goals and objectives. Doesn't matter what landscape there is, doesn't matter what uncertainty, they have clear focus, clear purpose, and they're able to push through and break through because they have the freedom and the peace of mind to do it, and they have the support. So again, I hope this was helpful. And if you're interested in coming to the workshop, please let me know. Thanks.